Good morning and welcome to Great Day Houston. Now, if you notice something different about the way I look, it's thanks to our first guest today. He's a handcrafted animator with an imagination too big for the real world. His paper passion has taken him from Sugarland to Sesame Street and a whole lot more. Paper animator Brandon Ray kicks off Great Day, which starts now.
Your city, your stories, celebrating the people and places that make Houston shine. It's Great Day Houston. And now, here's your host, Deborah Duncan.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Houston. At a time when digital technology makes everything more perfect, not to mention the introduction of AI, there's something endearing about things that are still created from scratch by a human hand. You just saw the work of paper animator Brandon Ray. His skill takes imagination, forethought, creativity, and a lot of patience. For Brandon, his curiosity eventually became a career. His company, Paper Brain Productions, is a full-time animation studio. Photographer Frank McBride produced this interview with Brandon and takes us through the pages of his paper passion.
My name's Brandon Ray, and I'm a handcrafted animator. The kind of animation that's closest to my heart is paper stop-motion animation. As long as I remember, I was in Texas. I was actually born in Arkansas, but Houston, Texas, Missouri City, then Sugarland. I'm a Houstonian. I've always loved drawing, and a creative outlet that allowed me to express things from inside my imagination. Early on, there was a show called Commander Mark's Secret City. It was on PBS.
You got your pencil ready, your paper out in front of you, right? Okay, we're ready to draw today.
That was geared at younger people, but I think all audiences really how to draw. I would just spend hours and hours, my imagination exploding onto paper. I was, of course, big into animated cartoon shows and films. My sister and I used to watch over and over again an anime called Unico and the Island of Magic. There was just something about the storytelling in that one in particular. I remember in high school, I was really into the rodeo art competitions. I was really into doing detailed drawing, and that was a place where those type of pieces were center stage there. I got several awards for rodeo art. I got a summer scholarship to an art camp for it. That continued until it was time for me to go to college. I went to UT, to the filmmaking department. In film school, I was making as many short films as I possibly could. I was writing them. The first things you make, they might not be good. They probably won't be, but that's okay. That's part of the process, and everyone does it. And being self-conscious about that is just gonna hold you back. Coming out of school, I had no idea what I was gonna do next. The general idea was that I'd become some sort of filmmaker, and I'd be creating my own films. So I jumped around from a lot of different professions. But no matter where it was that I was working, I tried to find a way to be creative and to work on my craft. I kind of led a double life. And as soon as I got off the clock from work, you know, I'd come home, kiss my wife, be like, okay, honey, I'm going to animate now. And that's where I basically taught myself animation. I'm about to show you how we do it through stop motion animation with the camera. Paper stop motion animation involves a puppet, a head, a torso, legs, arms, and they're all cut out separately. You see, I need all these parts to be separate because we need to be able to move his head around, or his ears around, or her tail around, or her legs around. You pose the puppet, you take a photograph, you move those legs or arms slightly, you take another photograph, you move the legs or arms slightly, you take another photograph. You keep doing that until you have 12 to 24 frames of animation per second, and you have a character that's come to life, either walking, dancing, whatever it is they need to do. Made some pretty bad stuff at first, but as time progressed, I started developing my own style. I think the more I did that and the more I was working with computer-based animation, the more I craved real materials in my animation. So I started drawing, frame by frame. It was just a big experimentation process. It was playing around. Some things worked and some things didn't. I started posting things on YouTube. This was around the time where YouTube was really jumping off as a platform. On my channel, I would regularly post and update things, and I used all kinds of handcrafted techniques. That was kind of the focus. As I did that more, and I seemed to be getting more and more attention from it, I ended up getting the notion that, hey, you know, I might actually be able to start making money from doing this. I was contacted by a production designer who was going to be working on a pilot for an Amazon Studios show. And they wanted to know if I could do something in a paper puppet style. So I said, sure. And they asked me if I'd ever done that before, and I said, oh, of course. Now, who had I done it for? Just myself. Just my own channel, so I wasn't lying. I hadn't done it professionally, but that's kind of where everything started.
So once there was this kid, and he wanted to make a wish. So he runs to the top of Wishing Hill at the end of New Street.
That was a crazy crash course for me. It was something like 12 or 13 different episodes total. One person doing everything all by myself. One of the producers for Sesame Street was such a big fan of the show, I was able to start up a conversation.
Look, flowers are blooming.
Being on Sesame Street, that was one of the items on my animator's bucket list. I was able to do letter and number films for them, which those are like the classic number 12 pinball machine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I get to come up with a script idea of some way to teach and communicate that, and then I throw in my own stylistic elements and just make those films for them.
S. S is for seasons. Seasons. There are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall.
I've really relied on the word of mouth factor because I think it's so important every job I take on to really establish a good relationship. When people like working with you, they're going to either work with you again or they're going to recommend you to other people.
With words of love in a telephone call, in anything made paper, that's all.
In the future, I see Paperbrain being less of an accordion company and more so a company that has grown and expanded to where we're going to be able to bring more animators on. We want to create our own content too.
Are you calling? Are you calling out my name?
I don't think there's a day that I wake up that I'm not just electrocuted by a volt of creative energy and excitement. The mornings are fantastic. Every day is like a puzzle. There's something to solve. And the excitement of seeing, will it get done? How's it gonna look when it actually comes together? Yeah, that's always present.
If you listen, I am calling out your name.
Brandon joins us now in full motion. Oh my gosh. The photographer who shot this is also our Great Day Houston director. He's in the booth right now. But when he came back, he was so excited about this. And when we saw this, we're like, oh my gosh, we love this. I met you for the first time this morning in the green room, but you've already spent a whole lot of time with me, haven't you? And it's right there on the table.
Well, yes, I have. I've got hundreds of cutouts of you.
Look at these. This is crazy.
And
oh my gosh.
that's what we used to make the opening sequence. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Just for the opening sequence. So when I said it takes patience, it does take patience, doesn't it?
It takes just a little bit of patience,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Oh, I love several of the things that you said, and there are such great life lessons. And one of the things that you said was, the first thing I did was not good. And so many times, I think, especially today, we want to be at the end of a journey versus getting through the journey.
Oh, it's a continual journey, for sure. And I feel like if people have that mentality to where what they make right off the bat has to be fantastic, it's going to stifle them from really getting to their full potential.
Yeah, no major invention would have been here today had we not gone through something first.
Yeah.
You learn from what doesn't work, right?
Definitely. Yeah, for growth, you have to People would say fail, but you have to make mistakes, and that's what you learn from and build on.
We saw some of the examples of your other art. You're such a great artist in drawing with that free hand as well. You know, so many times, and I bring this up a lot, we put the emphasis on, you know, math and reading and write STEM, all that type of stuff, which is so important. It definitely is. But art is good for the soul as well.
It is. You know, it's a form of communication, and it's one thing that can unite people from different cultures, different languages, things like that, because we're just expressing some shared human experience that others can relate to.
Yeah. What kind of kid were you? What did art do for you outside of, you know, the outside praise, the internal thing that it did for you?
Well, it was definitely a great means of self-expression for me. And then, you know, my parents were super supportive of the things that I created and made, and so it felt good to make things that were bringing other people joy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I used to work for Disney and did a lot of work with the animators in California, and they would say, you know, there's not many places for animators to go, and so, you know, all roads led there. You're creating roads right here in Houston. You're looking for interns. What kind of person are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for someone who realizes that animation is not just something that they want to do in their own free time, but this is how they want to make their money. Yeah. They want this to be their vocation, their job. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing that we're looking for, is people who really want to figure out how they can turn this passion into a living for the rest of their life.
I heard you say, I did that whole thing myself. He goes, whoa, that's a lot. But for a lot of artists, doing it themselves, because you have the vision in your head. I remember when I was making jewelry for a big department store, and I said, and how many do you want? And they said 250, and I went, because I was making them all myself. It's hard to let go. Can you let go?
It is, yeah, it's hard to, but you know, it's so much better when you do let go and you share the experience with other people, because everybody has something unique to bring and to offer, and you make whatever experience you're sharing, you make it richer when someone else can add their own perspective and experience to it.
Thank you so much for bringing this to us. It's so cool. For more information on Brandon Ray, his company Paper Brain Productions, and internship opportunities, log on to greatdayhouston.com and we will connect you. Now we want the whole rest of the show to be paper. No, okay.